What's going on, Jerome's Raw Real Parking Lot Rant? And I feel like a lot of people have a lot of reservations about this offseason for the Vikings. And yeah, it could be just a hangover of how the season ended. Just went out with a whimper, lost 6 out of 7. And I mean, there's a lot of emotions. So 13-4, wanting some more, win the division, lost to the Giants, whatever. Whatever. Then 0-3, 1-4 start, turnovers, drops. It's not looking good, man. And then crescendoed, unfortunately, in the middle of the season, beating the Niners, beating the Packers' ass up at Lambeau, and thinking, oh, here we go, baby. And we'll get Justin Jefferson back and we're good to go. And then Kirk popped his Achilles, and the season was just sort of whatever after that. JJ came back, salvaged a 1,000-yard season. I mean, huge testament to him. But I mean, I know that Daniil had a season or had a career high in sacks. I know that the Flores defense was a lot of fun until the last couple of games of the year. Passionate was a good time for a hot second. Jaron Hall had one good drive against Atlanta. Nick Mullins threw for 5 bajillion yards and 17 interceptions. But yeah, I mean, it was a season that was an emotional roller coaster, but one to forget. And unfortunately, the Lions won the division. Unfortunately, Jordan Love allegedly looks good, so who knows? Who knows? Also, the Bears could end up with Caleb Williams, so fantastic. But I feel like a lot of fans are poo-pooing this offseason. And I see it as it's the most knife edge of history moment for the Vikings. And it's pretty exciting because either way it ends up, it is good. And I understand. Kirk Cousins with his void contract, $28.5 million dead. Again, Kirk isn't owed $28.5 million from the Vikings. That's just accounting for the cap. But regardless, if Kirk is back, I don't see it being a 3-year deal. I don't see it being heavy guarantees. At maximum, I see it being a 2-year deal. But what will happen then is the Vikings and this whole competitive rebuild thing, that goes out the window. Because if you have Kirk back for 1 year, maybe 2, it behooves you to go all in. It behooves you to find as much money as possible in free agency and get you a Justin Madubuike, get you a Jalen Johnson, get you a Kevin Dotson, get you a whatever, and completely shove all of your chips in the middle, extend Jefferson long term, and be like, hey, this is it. This is our Super Bowl window, 2024, 2025. We are all in, and damn the torpedoes. And that's got to be exciting, man, because you love when teams just load up and say, F you, we're going for the pin. It's like when the Rams traded for Stafford and then they brought in Von Miller and OBJ and whatnot. Like, they're really going for it. And Kevin O'Connell was part of that. So he understands there's a time for a rebuild. There's a time for a competitive rebuild. There's a time to go all in. So, because I don't think that the Vikings would try to be half pregnant and yes, they could still draft their quarterback of the future, but that doesn't exclude them from going after high-price free agents, even though, yes, cap-wise, whatever. But, with Daniil, keeping the band together, doing something, and just really going for it, because I don't see them like pussyfooting around with the competitive rebuild if Kirk is back on a premium contract for 1 or 2 years. I just don't see that. That doesn't make any sense at all. So I see the Vikings, if Kirk does return, I could see them just completely going for it, man. Going for that pin, and if it doesn't work out, you tear this team down, and then you rebuild. Sort of like what the Bucs did after they won a Super Bowl with Brady. But what if it goes the other way? What if Kirk decides to leave, and he signs wherever? Atlanta, Vegas. I mean, because when you think of Las Vegas, you think of Kirk Cousins, or Pittsburgh, wherever. Doesn't matter. Either way, he leaves. So you have that $28.5 million dead. I think that is a clear signal for the Vikings that it's time to trade up, make your move, find your quarterback of the future. Well, you could stick and pick, but in likelihood, you're probably going to have to trade up to 8 or 6 or 5 or into the top 3 and go get your guy. And that's exciting too, isn't it? So either way, however works out, because I don't see a middle ground. I think this is going to be strictly binary with what happens here. I think that they're going to sign Kirk, and they're going to go all in, and they're going to say, damn the torpedoes. They're probably going to give future first-rounders. They're probably going to kick the can down the road on some cap. They're going to build an Avengers-style team and just really go after it. But if they don't, I mean, this is, if you lop off Kirk, Harrison, and Daniil, which are all plausible moves this offseason, the Vikings become one of the youngest teams in the league. And then they're going to go for the pin in terms of finding their quarterback of the future. So I think that either way, it's exciting, and I'm down to clown with either one. Now, yes, there could be some middle ground where they re-sign Kirk, but they still draft their quarterback of the future either at 11 or make a move day 2. That's fine. But either way, I'm kind of in. And I just don't see a path where the Vikings have a non-exciting offseason. I just really, I don't see a world where, hey, we signed Kirk to a 3-year, $145 million fully guaranteed deal, and we're doing nothing else. We're letting Daniil walk. We're not signing any free agents. We're not extending JJ. We're just riding out with Kirk for 3 more years. Oh, wait. His body's falling apart because he's old now? Oh, sad day. I just don't see that, man. I don't see that going down. So, again, Kirk, all in, or shoving all in for the quarterback of the future. Either way, it's going to be good times. I'm down with it, man. But anyways, that's it. Raw, real parking lot rant. You know what to do. Skull, no production value.